trying to edit some technical stuff here in the background real quick, Mr. Kostya. Hopefully
Oh,
it'll
yeah.
be fixed.
All good.
We'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, Black's got the space, but again, this sort of weakened structure feels, again, I mean, to me, it feels equalish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ricky, do you want E4?
It feels like this is going to be, we saw some interesting stuff the past couple days in some of those games. It feels like I already feel like this is going to be a draw. Like, I'm already predicting. So we didn't predict yet. Okay, so I don't know if this game counts. What do you think is going to happen today, Mister
I'm
Mister Kostya?
I'm sticking with my prediction. I mean, I'd be happy to watch a tiebreak, but honestly, it's not important to me. But I would stick with my with yesterday's uh, number, which was 2.5, 1.5 for Magnus.
Okay.
And how about you?
I think I'm going to go with you there. I think Magnus. I mean, Nepo had some chances yesterday, but I feel like Magnus had more of the chances. So yeah, that seems. I guess I'm gonna put faith in you here.
So no, you're thinking no tiebreak.
I'm just like, I would love to see one, but yeah, I'm not sure that um, I just felt like Magnus had, again, like more of the opportunities yesterday. I mean, Nepo definitely had some in some positions for sure, but again, it's hard to root against Magnus, even though Nepo is great and especially at fast time controls. But Magnus is no slouch at these time controls either.
Yeah.
Thanks, From Raid. I dressed up for the last day. This is as pretty as I ever get in life. So appreciate the nice comment.
Yeah, we had a question about if we can do a game analysis. I think the answer is probably going to be no. We've been tasked with covering this tournament, the Airthings Masters, and so yeah, it'll be very awkward for us to pull away from showing Nepo Magnus right now.
Yeah,
But
I think.
But sorry if I could interject.
Sure.
My main channel, Chess Dojo Live, they love analyzing games over there, and they have a very active Discord where you can post your game and people will comment on it. Yeah, I would definitely recommend checking out Chess Dojo Live on Twitch.
Yeah, it's me and Mr. Kostya kind of met each other recently, and I am I pay attention to a lot of chess, but Chess Dojo Live was new to me, and I've been watching some of his videos. 100% phenomenal. And again, I wouldn't
Thanks.
just, yeah, no, I mean, we were talking about that. Like, I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it. I always be like, yeah, go over there. No, they're great, super interesting. I set through like hours worth of interviews already and just chat, and I'm just like, oh, it's so yeah, you guys are doing great work there, so keep it up.
Nice. Appreciate it.
As a chess fan and geek, yeah, I think it's wonderful. So I think I've lost my YouTube stream. Maybe we can fix it here at some point. We'll see what happens. Okay, I think it is back. Okay, no worries. I think I changed the title, and okay, no worries. Okay, so back to the game here. What okay, so
Yeah, Rook e6 just played. So White has control over the d file, but remains to be seen what's going to happen here. Like if Nepo tries to come in, play queen d7, start taking pawns, he's going to get mated after e3, f4, etc. And this is kind of Black's plan with putting the queen on e5, is that he wants to be able to push these pawns forward. And then use the bishop, even maybe bishop d6 at some point, and actually go after White's king. right now, I feel like I would rather be in black's shoes because, especially in a rapid situation, you got threats against the king. It's very unpleasant for white. You got to play g3, deal with h5, h4 stuff, f4. King side e3. The king side can just open up very, very quickly.
Yeah, it feels like that knight on e5 isn't, as it was. I hear all the different sayings, but yeah, knight on a rim is grim, or I don't know. Yeah, it just,
Well,
what's it doing?
the problem to my naive international master eyes is that knight on a5 is putting pressure. Rook on e6 is defending. That's kind of nice for white. It's like you have a knight like taking the power of a rook. It's very economical. And now white's rook is free to dominate the d file. But the issue is that black's rook can still be both defensive and active at the same time. Like black can play f4, g5, rook g6, g4, and use the rook both in the attack and in the defense. And then if the rook is active, then what's the knight doing on a5? It should be on e3 or e2 defending the king side.
Yeah, so to my naive eyes, yeah, exactly. I'm just like, okay, yeah, so the knight is doing something, but yeah, exactly. That rook, like, it just feels like the knight, like, okay, that was sort of your one shot, and you're not doing anything, and like what you doing over there, yeah, I agree. I would definitely take black. It feels like, especially at this time control. It's
Yeah.
interesting too how sort of time control, I think, um, sort of changes how you sometimes not evaluate the position, but maybe necessarily what maybe which side you would take.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so I don't think so. Queen d7 doesn't do anything. I'm just like, is there any way to get at that c6 pawn? I don't think
Well, that's a very critical move, and I mean, this would be the move you want to play to kind of justify your knight on a5. So if you can take the c pawn, then okay, white starts getting a lot of counterplay. But it's a very risky move to play because then you lose your queen's defenses on the king side, right? So for example, queen d7, even something like bishop d6, I think is possible. It could be really annoying for white to deal with. And then
do you have to be
g3,
careful about
e3.
do you have to be careful about like e3 breaks?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if the queen leaves the king side.
Right.
So this, I think, would just be a disaster for white. Because, okay, white has some checks, but, the king just hides. And, rook e7 will block.
F6,
Yeah, king goes to h6 or rook e7. Exactly. So, or even the immediate e3 also looks very unpleasant for white. I mean, king is opening up on the dark squares. Black is a dark squared bishop. It's bad. So Nepo does go g3. Yeah, I was thinking this is kind of the move you have to kind of start with. So now on e3, at least you can force a queen trade. That wouldn't be bad for white at all, I think. But my guess is Magnus is going to look to open things up. Magnus, okay, maybe very easy thing to say, but is a really good attacker. He loves mating people. So I feel like he's thinking about h5, bishop d6, these kinds of moves. Although bishop d6 hangs the c pawn, so gotta be careful.
So somebody's suggesting like just like queen e3 here.
Oh, for white?
Yeah. Let me
Well, now
check the
that he
comment
played g3, yeah, that's a move that white would want to play. On the last move, it would have run into f4, which would be bad. But I think that is the idea behind g3, is to basically fight for these squares.
Right. Yeah, they're suggesting, yeah. Shihab, yeah. Maybe queen e3 and rook d2.
Yeah, so next move, queen e3, definitely could be something that white wants to do. But the issue is that black has time. So black plays h5. If you play queen e3, then black is going h4, right? So maybe on h5, white has to play h4. Then black comes up with some other ideas, bishop e7 or something, g5, and yeah, always posing some problems, right? So can be hard to get the plans in.
Yeah, so I don't think we're gonna maybe get the tactical melee that we had in some of games 2, 3, and 4 yesterday, but again, a lot of people hate these sort of technical positions. I actually really enjoy them. Like, it's just like I don't mind them at all. Like,
Hmm.
I don't find them boring in the least. So
Yeah, no, I mean,
yeah, but
I wouldn't even call it this a technical position. I'd say it's really sharp.
yeah,
Yeah, good question, Farmate. Should white place pawns on dark or light squares? Well, you see, Nepo has placed a lot of his pawns on dark squares on purpose, right? He played c3 and g3. I don't think this is an accident. I think this is good to kind of restrict the bishop. If yeah, we saw white playing f3 and stuff and b3, then all the dark squares on the board would be kind of lit up. So yeah, I would say in general you want to kind of restrict black's dangerous pieces, which in this case is bishop and the queen.
yeah, I'm trying to think, as always, like what I would play here as black.
Yeah, Magnus has been thinking about it for a while, which makes it seem like kind of a critical moment. Because he has a lot of options. Again, he has h5, he can start with bishop e7, even g5 is a move I would consider here, just sacrificing the pawn for the open g file, and then looking to create tactics here. But then, queen h5 or something, and you're not really sure if it works, but it's the kind of thing I think black should be considering.
Sure.
Maybe even h6 and g5, just kind of slowly.
Slowly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
And I
what
always
makes
look
this
at
position very, very double-edged. Sorry, Patrick, you were saying?
no, I was gonna say I always look at forcing moves. I don't know if rookie six, like I'm just like, but again, I don't know what that does at all.
Yeah, the question is, does black want to trade rooks?
Yeah, for sure. Um,
Okay, rook d6 played.
yeah, okay, well,
And we'll see if Magnus wants to trade. That'd be very surprising for me. I didn't think black wanted to trade any pieces here, given that they were attacking. But maybe he's going for takes and e3
yeah.
to just open up white's king and
Yeah, so
guarantee some real counterplay.
yes, just sort of this idea we saw a second ago. Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
That makes sense.
So
My feeling is this is Magnus
it's
kind
fun.
of playing it safe, actually. Like, I feel like he could have had much more aggressive options.
It's funny. I've noticed this. I think this is a deficiency in my own ability. Sometimes I'll sort of be like, "Oh yeah, maybe E3 is good," and then I sort of like I forget about it like two positions later. Like, it's still in the air. Still maybe it's still like worth playing for.
No, I mean it's dangerous, and Nepo has the option here to like take
Hmm.
this pawn on c6, but I think like queen e4 or takes and queen e4, it's still quite dangerous, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe queen e4 first. Actually, that would be kind of a nice trick, because if white goes queen d5, trading queens off with like extra pawn, then they end up
Oh
losing
no.
the end.
Yeah. Oh no.
So,
Yes.
so this would be kind of a nice way to keep the pressure.
Right.
So this one. Yeah. But it also feels like Nepo should be more or less okay here. So now I'm thinking draw is more and more likely. Queen e2 played.
Yeah. Just keeping everything safe. Yeah. Shihab is suggesting, yeah, Queen E2. Yeah, it looks like Neponiashti has agreed with you there. Yeah, so I don't think this again is right. So some small little threats here potentially.
Oh, it takes e2. Yeah, that was possible as well. Knight c6, e2 from black, and then white would have to play queen e1, and this pawn would be quite strong, possibly. Again, queen e4 and this kind of thing. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Another idea for sure that black could play.
Yeah, and even after queen e4, and there's like potentially maybe bishop h6 and even d2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
Just to
that probably just winning for black on the spot. So that's why Nepo goes queen e2, yeah, to make sure that doesn't happen. And Magnus goes bishop h6.
seems very natural.
Yeah. And putting a lot of pressure on white, right? Because he wants to take on f2 and immediately get the bishop in.
Right.
Magnus, of course, I think definitely still playing this for a win. Knight b3, so he's going to, of course, take with the king.
Yeah.
And
So
finally,
just
white tries to bring the knight back. Yeah.
so what's the problem with taking with the queen? I mean, just to show people.
Oh, right. That takes bishop e3 would be
Yeah.
G.
Yeah.
So king takes more likely. And then black would have to keep the queens on. But that's why I don't think he's going to take on f2, because you definitely don't want to trade queens here as black. So that your pawns all fall.
Right.
But if you're not trading queens, then I don't think, a good reason to take on f2 if you don't have to. Maybe like queen e4 or f4. f4 definitely actually feels like
Yeah, I was gonna say,
a move.
are you worried about that passed pawn? I mean, I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon. I mean, okay, I thought you were saying f4 for white. Okay.
Oh, no, for black,
Is it okay?
Oh, and it's on the board. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, why not, right? Just to open up white's king completely.
Yeah,
Now
it's
he's
sort of.
starting to take on g3.
I mean, that's right. The point of, I guess, e3 and bishop h6, just to sort of. I mean, it feels like everything's coordinating.
Yeah, it's starting to look kind of nice for black.
Yeah, again, that knight that was on a5 was finally like, okay, we're done over there. Yeah, but trying to find a purpose.
Yeah, and in case of g4 there, then probably we see our favorite idea with f3.
Yeah.
Queen takes
Right.
e2, which would be a brutal way to end. So instead, Nepo trades everything, takes on f4, takes on e3, bishop takes, king g2.
Yeah, it feels like black is, I don't want to say winning, but feels like comfortable.
Black is in control, 100%. Especially this knight is like very dominated on b3. Black has checks and perpetual probably at any moment. But yeah, white's king just feels very open, and that makes me feel like black has very nice chances here. Right. Wow, it just goes king g7. Showing Nepo that he has no moves, because knight d2 is met with queen g5 check. So Magnus just improves the king, queen f3.
So what do you do here as black? Do you try to, I mean, there's clearly, I mean, I assume with the queen on f3, you're not going to whip up some mating attack. Do you start pushing the kingside pawns for black and just sort of, again, like you said, that white knight? Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that, well, we'll get to that. I think that is the plan, kind of to push the king side. I'm just wondering, why didn't Magnus play queen e4 check in this position? Oh, queen f3, I guess. Queen e4, queen f3.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say yeah.
Okay, because if the king moves, then it's actually very scary for white, but that makes sense. So king g7, queen f3 anyway. And now, okay, bishop g5. But at some point, it does feel like the pawns are going to need to get involved. Nepo
Back
goes
to
knight
a5.
a5. Yeah, because queen definitely can't really afford to leave the king here. But the knight isn't getting back anyway, so might as well play knight a5. Now Magnus goes bishop h4. I wonder what's his idea exactly. Queen g4. Well, Nepo's gonna find out. He takes on c6. Queen g5 check.
Yeah, instantly played.
And
It seems like you've always got a draw as
yeah,
black. I assume.
I guess
I
queen
mean, I assume
g4
you.
makes sense.
What's I say? Yeah. So okay. So what happens? I assume queen g4. You're playing queen d2,
Right.
and then
I think white just plays for the repetition.
yeah.
It's hard to imagine that black can really do much here because bishop will be hanging on h4 and white is going to have their own checks. The knight coming back in soon. But knight still somehow feels very dominated. So check. Oh, queen g4 or queen g2. So it doesn't. But now, okay, yeah, if black wants, still can go queen f4, queen c1. And does Magnus want? I mean, he's down a pawn, but somehow I feel like he's really not risking that much. Like, it's really hard for this knight to get back into the game. As soon as it touches a dark square, it just gets picked up because white's king is so open. So it's very difficult for this knight to enter.
Yeah. So do you? Can you just play something like queen e3 and just say your move? Okay. Yeah, you got the pawn, but where's that knight going? And just sort of wait.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. White can still take the pawn and then go knight b5, but then it still never enters the king side. So basically means like black has a draw at any moment, but the question is, can Magnus create more?
Yeah. So Farmraid was suggesting, yeah, knight a7 and knight b5. I'm gonna peek real quick. I guess it was a black's move. So there was check. So I guess maybe there wasn't even time for that. If I
Yeah,
was
he's
looking at the right
repeating a
position.
little bit.
Yeah, Magnus down to almost a minute, and yeah, Jan almost 5 minutes. So I'm taking a pic. Or this is the first time I've looked at the cameras of both of them.
Mm-hmm. Wow, a6. So again, Magnus just passing the ball. He's like, all right, your move. I don't know what you're doing with your knight, but it's a very tough position for white to hold, I think. I feel like it's so easy to blunder here.
Yeah, yeah, that king feels very insecure over there on
Right.
h1.
But so far, Nepo's doing a good job. I mean, he's holding his own. Magnus looks confused. He's like, I know I'm better here, but how do I how
Yeah,
do I win?
yeah. I mean, I'd be shocked if this doesn't again sort of fizzle out, but we'll see. So again, I want to see like h5 here. Start, push him, start using that queenside majority. Okay.
No,
well,
Magnus is done. He had enough. Maybe if he had more time. The problem is he was also running out of time. He could push more, but yeah, definitely feel like he was better there and kind of let Nepo off the hook a bit. But another good game for Nepo, holding the world champion. From worst position, not so easy.
Yeah, that is. I suppose it's worth pointing out that was from the white side he got into a little bit of trouble. So he's now got 2 blacks and 1 white left. So at this level, it certainly counts for something. So we'll see what happens. So, all right, I assume, what time is it? I'm checking my clock. Okay. So I think the original schedules, they would start on the hour, but that certainly isn't going to be the case. I assume they'll jump back into it in probably 10-ish minutes would be my guess. So a few minutes before.
Yeah, that's my guess. That'll be about 10 minutes before the next game. Quick question from the chat. Do I think exchanging rooks is a bad strategy? Well, I definitely wouldn't call it bad if Magnus did it. But I think it was perfectly fine because, his idea was not just to trade rooks. His idea was to get e3 in. And after this happened, Black got tons of counterplay. And I think his position was close to winning. I think he had big chances there.
Yeah, right, exactly. Right. It wasn't about just exchanging rooks. It was about breaking up that kingside structure for white. So I think that was the underlying, that was the real idea with it all. So
yeah.
But okay, well, Mr. Kostya, want to take a few minutes and we can hop back into it?
Yeah, sounds good. We'll be back in a few for the next round.
Okay. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll be back soon.
Okay, so let's send a challenge.
Here is challenging. Nice graphics, easy to see. What are you thinking about? You're looking how it can be the most painful?
Exactly. Okay, fine.
That I give up a phone. He wants to be even rude.
I'm ahead of the game. Well, the phone is always ringing. I'm caught up on the line. Got a string around my finger. Remember who am I? I'm a boss and I'm honestly off my rocker, but follow me. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. I'm only ever slinging. I'm working overtime. Got a song and I'm the singer, the melody, the vibe. I'm a prodigy. Logically, I'm impossibly wanted. Then they'll remember my name. They'll remember my name. Ooh, well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. Well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. Well, I'm ahead now. Well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game.
My name is Sam Shankland. I was the US champion in 2018. My goal is to keep things as simple as possible, but no simpler. So if I believe there is an easy solution to something, I'm giving it. No questions asked. Thanks much, and I wish you the best for all your studying.
As a kid, I spent hours every day reading about chess, about openings, chess history, and games played between world champions, grandmasters, all of them. My apps make learning much easier. Everything I know you can find in my apps: Magnus Trainer, Tactics Frenzy, and Play Magnus. You can learn the basic rules of chess, train with our 400 lessons, and even play against my digital self. Download and try my apps for free.
My name is Anish Giri. I am a top grandmaster from the Netherlands. The alliance and the recommendations that I give are well suited for players of all levels. So I really explain a lot of concepts, but also a lot of basic things. Now it's your move. Don't waste any time. Hit that buy button.
Hi, I'm Grandmaster Judith Polgar, and I'm here to welcome you in the Chessable classroom. It combines a shared chessboard with live video. Teachers get to interact on the chessboard with their students and even run quizzes and tournaments. I really love what Chessable Classroom can offer. I use it myself all the time. Just invite students to your classroom and start teaching right there. No downloads needed, and it's for free.
Hi there, it's me, John Chess, inventor of chess. And are you sick of sucking at chess? Well, lucky for you, I have also invented AIM Chess. Look at this chess puzzle. Did you solve it? Of course not, that's because you're not using AIM Chess. AIM Chess is a digital chess trainer that helps you improve by creating unique lessons based on your recent games. Just link your chess.com or VChess account and feel that brain wrinkle. Yeah, see, you shouldn't have blundered your queen just there. Now I know! Thanks, AIM Chess! Now all that's left to figure out is how that funny horse moves. They even got acquired by that one chess player other than Hikaru, so you know it's good. Hi, it's me, that guy I just mentioned, and I am the best chess man in the world. But thanks to AIM Chess, I also have a girlfriend now as well. This could be you! Personalized training, game reports and analysis disease, study plans, thick, luscious hair, intuition builder, all this and more available on AIM Chess.
Hello?
Courtney, did you know that AIM Chess users improve their ratings 43% faster than average?
What?
So what are you waiting for? Join AIM Chess today. Links will be somewhere, probably. I don't know, I just made the video. AIM Chess. Sign up now and get 50k silver and 2 free months off your VPN. Now that's what I call a Queen's Gambit.
That's so fucking dumb.
AIM Chess, for when you aim to chess. That's their slogan. It's what they say. Ready, aim, chess. That's another. Look, just sign up for AIM Chess, okay? Just, come on, literally, why not? Alright, just stop being a dick for like 5 seconds and just go, alright? Jesus Christ.
Hey folks, I'm International Master Kostya PatrickJMT, and I'm really excited to be presenting my first ever course for Chessable. I've been a big fan of Chessable for many years, and I'm often recommending a lot of the courses to my students. So yeah, it's a real pleasure to finally be previewing my first course for this platform. So this is Endgame Studies 101. And let me just make it clear right off the bat that this is not your typical endgame course. We're not going to be looking at specific rook endgames or looking at high-level examples of endgame play. Instead, this course is all about endgame studies, which, if that's not a term you've heard before, an endgame study is basically a composed puzzle, typically featuring few pieces on the board, where the solutions tend to be quite elegant, if not even artistic. Now, endgame studies are generally designed to be quite tricky. The solutions are rarely straightforward. But the point in solving studies is that they can be great for developing your ability to calculate your imagination, your resourcefulness, your creativity at the board, and simply put, your ability to find unexpected but truly ingenious solutions at the board. And this is why endgame studies are often used by many chess coaches worldwide, including myself. I personally love giving endgame studies to my students because I feel like it develops their ability to think creatively, to think outside the box. And in solving a lot of studies, one really tends to get a feeling for how the pieces work together in the end game. It can really strengthen your sense of piece harmony and coordination. Here we can see all of the chapters in the course, and what I've done is I've divided the course up into 4 major parts. So in part 1, we have our tactical foundation. And this is where we're going to be focusing on specific tactical themes that are often arising in endgame studies. So this section is going to be very much about pattern recognition, as I've included a lot of the most common patterns that are often coming up in endgame studies. A lot of tricks, a lot of nice tactics, and hopefully ideas that will show up in your actual real-life games. We start off with a couple chapters on the tactical themes, attraction, deflection, and interference. Attraction and deflection, I believe, are relatively well known. Interference is a very pretty and artistic theme that comes up in endgame studies quite a bit and is well worth knowing. Then chapter 4 is all about pass pawn tricks, where we're going to be looking at typical ways of getting your pawn to that final promotion square, as well as creative ways of dealing with enemy pass pawns. And then in chapter 5, we're going to be focusing on mating nets, where I'm going to be presenting some of the most common mating patterns that are often coming up in endgames and endgame studies. So I'd like to stress that I really tried to make this course have as much practical value as possible, which is why I mainly focused on studies that I felt could realistically have come from a real game. Because ultimately, this is all about chess improvement, and I do believe that anyone that goes through the course will start seeing some of these ideas and patterns start to come up in their games time and time again. So let's take a look at one of these chapters. Looks like, let's go to chapter 3. So here we have chapter 3, which is all about the interference theme. And what you'll see at the top of each chapter is a video. Now, I designed the course to be perfectly standalone, but if you would like to see me explaining some of the themes and concepts in each chapter, as well as going through some of the puzzles, then the video component is available as well. So here we have the first problem from chapter 3, which is all about interference. And if you haven't seen an interference tactic before, it really is one of the prettiest and most artistic themes out there, really one of my favorites. And if you'd like to solve this puzzle, it's white to play and win. I'd encourage you to pause the video at this point and think for yourself for a few minutes before coming back to see the solution. So this is the end of the study, actually composed by the great Russian composer Alexei Trotsky, really one of my favorite composers. A lot of his studies are featured in this course. And if we take stock of what's going on here, well, white is down a full rook, but has a couple of really strong pass pawns in the position. The problem for white is that both of these pawns seem to be stopped. Black's bishop is covering the a8 square, and black's rook is covering the e8 square. And it doesn't seem like there's a way for white to promote their pawns, but in fact, there is. So the solution is the really elegant and truly amazing move, bishop to e.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is now game 2 of the second day of the finals match of the Airthings Masters, the first event of the Meltwater Chess Champions Tour. I'm PatrickJMT, and once again, I keep saying it, very happy to be joined by professional chess player and coach, international master Kostya Kavitsky. And yeah, we've just been just having some fun watching some chess games all week now. I guess today is day number 8. And so yesterday, Nepomniachtchi and Carlsen had a bunch of really hard fought draws. It could have gone either way in many games. And game 1 today was also quite interesting. It was a little more positional, but it felt like Magnus was the one pressing there at the end. But at the end of the day, it was draw number 5 between these two guys.
Right. Yeah, they've had a very tough match so far. A lot of draws, very close. It feels like Magnus is the one with more chances. So for me, that always makes it seem like, okay, eventually this is going to kind of tell, and he'll be able to win a game. But
Yep.
the other thing is, the more you kind of fail to score, the more frustrated you get, sometimes. And we actually saw this in Magnus's match against Kuryakin in the World Championship, where Magnus was pressing in like a lot of the first 6-7 games, and then finally he overpressed in this critical game 8, and he ended up losing in kind of a shocking fashion. So that's kind of the danger when you're pressing all the time, that you get frustrated and you start taking on too much risk. But for the most part, I really haven't seen Magnus like misplay any positions. He just like kind of blunders something, or in time pressure misses something, but it's not like I feel like he hasn't really had a bad game so far in the knockouts.
Yeah, I was looking yesterday. I think he was in, certainly had maybe some iffy positions against Jan yesterday. But again, at the same time, I think Magnus had the better end of the deal. I think he had more opportunities. But again, those positions were super complicated. And a lot of times when they came up, it was literally with seconds on each side. So it's not surprising that they missed maybe some. And we keep talking about it. Yeah, maybe the computer says something, but yeah, you sort it out on your own when you're trying, if you're in their shoes. It's totally not reasonable what happened. So it's not that they were playing bad. I think they just the positions were just so complex. And I mean, we saw that yesterday in the very last game, very, sort of very minor detail where Magnus played Queen C7 instead of Queen B8. And, it shifted from, okay, Magnus is winning to now a complete draw. And we saw that with Jan, his reaction. I think he was sort of like, whoa, I think he knew maybe he was in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
So we are waiting for the next game, which I anticipate will start any minutes. But yeah, so it looks like Magnus is there, stretched out. He looks. I see him on the camera. He looks like he's ready to go. So we're just waiting. Okay, and there's Neponiashti. So I assume we'll get underway just momentarily.
Yeah, they're ready. And game probably starting shortly here.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just peeking at the camera. I'm sort of just like watching these two guys. Like, I always like. It seems like you get a better, you get a better close up with Jan. He seems like you get more of the facial expressions than you do. Magnus is a little. He's reclining. He's taking it easy. So,
yeah. But you get to see what Magnus is doing, like when he's eating and stuff. Although I just noticed Nepo, he's eating a banana.
Yeah.
Oh, and we got a bishop's opening. Very cool.
Do you think
Bishop
this
C4?
Is this
D3. Mm-hmm.
Is this just going to turn into an Italian?
A lot of times it does, but there are some distinctions. Both sides, I think, get some additional options. The main benefit, I believe, for this one from White's point of view is that you avoid the Petrov defense.
Okay.
That Nepo did start playing, I think, in the match actually. And might stick to.
Yeah, nobody wants to see that, or at least I don't want to.
Right. Yeah, Petrov for me, I mean, it can get sharp some positions, but for the most part, not so much. So bishop c5. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say the Petrov is, especially at this level, just as black. It's just something you're just playing for a draw, I assume. Correct? Or is it just still? Is it tricky enough to where you still have some shots as black?
To be fair, at this level, I think any game that these guys are playing as black, they're essentially playing to equalize.
Right.
First, and then they see, like if they're comfortable, then they can play on and play for a win. If they're fine with a draw, then they have a solid position and they don't have to risk anything. So yeah, I think the Petrov has this reputation because in general the positions are kind of drier, and black doesn't get like a lot of winning chances. But the game explodes, like anything can really happen, and White has a lot of sharp tries in the Petrov as well, and so those games can get very sharp. But mainly for these guys, yeah, it's kind of like a matter of how much risk they want to take, and Petrov definitely on the safer side.
Right. Yeah, and I think we saw this a little bit yesterday too. There were some of these positions that looked just sort of maybe not too exciting a few moves in, but then they just they blew up into something very tactical and very sharp, and just some really interesting positions.
Yeah, so here we see Magnus going for basically he just goes back into the Italian game with an early knight c3, knight c6, and now knight a4. This knight c3, I mean, it's often been considered kind of like a beginner's move, because usually White puts the pawn on c3 and then fights for the center, whereas knight on c3 actually doesn't end up doing much. But lately they've kind of figured out that maybe White can fight for a little edge with knight a4, just going after the two bishops. And it's a very, very small advantage, I would say, but Magnus, of course, famously is a big fan of the two bishops and is very good at handling them. So this is certainly something I think he would he'd be good at handling.
Yeah, just getting that bishop here, I assume, more than, I mean, that's the whole, I assume, the whole point of knight c3, or at least trying to, if you're allowed to. Okay, sorry, I was checking some chat there, kind of. I think we're trying to do the same thing there on Twitch there.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I just banned the guy.
Okay. So anyways, yeah, I've seen this structure for White in this position too, where it seems like the bishop on c4 is just totally blocked in with all these pawns, but
yeah, I would be very nervous to do this because I would always be afraid that my bishop is going to get trapped somehow.
Yeah, so like I guess to go back 2 moves, like why is b3 the move there?
Probably just to defend the pawn and keep
okay,
space.
Yes, so. Okay, sure. Okay.
Yeah. No, but I mean he could have played bishop b3 as well, but or even c3 to defend the pawn. There are different ways.
Right.
But yeah, clearly something about the structure that Magnus likes. But then I'd really be wondering what he wants to do on c6, followed by maybe just b4.
Right.
And then keeps the space.
Yeah, that seems like an easy enough solution.
So b3, knight g6, rook e1, c5.
Yeah, I mean Magnus has had this structure, I feel like, in quite a few games over this tournament, or am I crazy?
I think it's been coming up. I think Nepo had it as well.
Okay.
This bishop c4, b3 thing. Yeah.
Okay, I've seen it with someone, whoever it is. Yeah.
Probably they both had it. Interestingly, Nepo so far has been playing very fast. So that's cool. Seems like he feels pretty comfortable. And just h3 for Magnus.
Is that just to stop bishop g4 and give the king a little, way down the line, some potential, a little breathing space if it comes to it?
Yeah, it feels like just kind of like an easy waiting move. Not waiting, but he's improving his position.
Right.
Yeah, very unlikely that this move won't be useful for White in some lines. And Nepo quickly goes bishop c6. And I don't get if he just knows this position because he's playing so fast, or he's just very confident in his plan. Like he knows c5, bishop c6, you go d5, or whatever, rook e8, and yeah, he just seems to know all the moves.
Can you play something like even like queen d7 and b5 just to get rid of those double pawns? Does that make any sense?
Yeah, queen d7 for sure. Maybe you'd want to start with like h6 because queen d7, bishop g5 could be a little annoying maybe, but Yeah, that seems like a plan as well, like h6, queen d7, and then pushing b5.
Just play positionally.
Yeah. Okay, so Magnus goes b4. And Nepo is definitely surprised. So now he's going to start thinking, I would think.
I need to get the live stream going here because I'm not watching them.
But okay, idea seems pretty clear. If that black takes on a4 with the bishop at any point, white wants to go b5 and just completely trap this guy, which I think would be more or less fatal. Rook a3, queen a1, etc. And yeah, going to be very dangerous for black. And then if rook takes a4, then white just trades once and plays b5 anyway.
Right.
So yeah, sharp move. And now Nepo definitely out of book here and trying to figure out how to react to this. Because white also wants to gain space with b5 and then maybe a5. And yeah, just start opening up the position for the two bishops.
Yeah, it still feels like it's going to take a few moves to start busting open black, but feels like there's plenty of time in this position. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel like there's. It feels like it's going to take either side quite a few moves to start to do anything to really mix it up. It seems like.
Yeah.
Do you think there are any good connection between math and chess because some good players as MVL or mathematician? Yeah, I think MVL did get a degree in mathematics. I'm 99% sure. Yeah, that was his. And yeah, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Uwe,
Oive.
Oive. I've heard it pronounced like 80 times.
Yeah.
He was a professional. I mean, his job was a mathematician, and he was sort of. I think chess wasn't his profession, and then Botvinnik was an electrical engineer. Lasker was actually a mathematician. There's theorems in modern algebra named after Lasker. I'm trying to think who else there are. Yeah, there's certainly. I think that skill set overlaps for sure between chess and mathematics. I know Nakamura has said he's not good at math and it's not his thing, but I think sort of there's certainly some spatial abilities, and yeah, I think the skill sets are they're not completely separate. So yeah, good question, but I think you can be good at one and terrible at the other. So I remember when I was in graduate school, there was a really strong mathematician who liked chess, and we always played, and he was a much better mathematician than me, but I was a much better chess player than him. So I think partly it was just what we spent more of our time on. So but yeah, anyways, so are you a math guy, Kostya? Do you how do you feel about mathematics?
I was always good at math growing up.
Yeah.
I think in school, so it was definitely one of my favorite subjects, I would say. But then when I got to college, I started taking calculus. It got kind of hard. And I definitely struggled with it. It just got, I don't know, too technical for me or something.
It's definitely a challenging subject for sure.
Yeah.
So, but like chess, I mean.
Yeah, I think I could be good at it. I don't know. I just didn't enjoy my classes very much, and fortunately didn't really feel like pursuing it any further. I majored in business, which I thought would be kind of more universal.
I was gonna say you'll probably make more money with that than you would with a math major. I can tell you that for sure. So, speaking from experience, but yeah, that would be a whole other discussion for a whole other time. But yeah, there's certainly a lot of the good chess players. A lot of them were maybe not necessarily mathematicians, but math science oriented.
Yeah, exactly. They seem to be kind of capable in terms of math and stuff.
But okay, let's see. So just checking the game here.
Well, yeah, so Nepo reacted with d5, and he starts offering a trade of light squared bishops, which doesn't necessarily neutralize white's position, because I think there's enough targets for the dark square bishop to go after here. But yeah, the question is whether Magnus wants to allow bishop takes c4, which would force him to go dc, and then give that structure we saw in game 1, where Magnus had 4 versus 3 as black, and as we saw, that was very dangerous for white. Eventually, these pawns started rolling. So bishop b5, he avoids the trade. Definitely feels like white has something here. I mean, he's got some pressure. Against c5, dark square bishop again is always going to be able to participate, so.
Yeah, I mean, e5 is at the moment a little, potentially a little problem.
Feels like he achieved something. And I guess that was possible actually on the last move. He could have taken this one.
Yeah, I was wondering, I mean.
My guess is something like takes here, and maybe like queen d4, and
I was gonna say,
it's hard to feel like white's better in this position.
Yeah, I mean, how do you defend both c4 and e5?
Yeah. Doesn't seem, I guess, yeah, queen e2 hangs a rook on a1, so
yeah,
no good. So I think that maybe what influenced Magnus's decision to just go bishop b5, just keeping the pressure, not looking to simplify. Now Nepo does look to force things with e4. We'll see, because on the other hand, it kind of opens up the bishop even more for Magnus. So not clear if black is going to be fully equalizing here or not. Takes, expecting knight takes e4. Okay, we see his idea. He hits the bishop. He also wants knight c3. He might even be winning back the bishops here, unless Magnus has something fancy.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, I don't know what the eval says. It seems like black is.
Takes on c5. Interesting. So giving Nepo the chance to trade off the bishop, which I think is a big opportunity.
Yeah, so a lot of choices, right? Take the pawn in 2 different ways. You can take the bishop. I assume one of those things is going to happen.
Right. Yeah, I really don't see the problem with knight d2. I mean, if queen d2, then I assume black can take on f3.
Exactly.
Has to be
right?
okay here.
Yeah.
So knight d2, I would expect. So knight d2 on the board, I would expect this from Magnus, but then queen g5, and maybe not a big deal. Knight f3.
Yeah, it's still.
There's also like knight h4. There's some annoying jumps here.
Yeah, I mean, you could always too just take on c5 still, and then and say, what are you doing?
Yeah, hard to see how white is better there exactly as well. So yeah, he does take on d2, and now Magnus is. Well, he's considering his options there, so that means he's really considering queen takes d2, and just allowing the. The nice thing about this one is that it feels even kind of safer for white, though he might not be better at all here, but at least he'd be going into the endgame, and okay, pawns are ugly, but they can also be defended. But okay, he does take with the knight.
Okay.
Which definitely looks, strategically like the thing you want to do.
Yeah, so like you said.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, he has bishop f1. So you can defend g2 probably pretty comfortably here whenever he wants. So on any knight h4, knight f4, queen g5 jumps, he always has bishop f1 if necessary. Looks like knight f4 played.
Yeah, so it seems like you can,
Mhm.
yeah, at least get the knight a little more active potentially before you take on c5 as black. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it's just a transposition in some ways. I think we were talking about, I've had these positions numerous times with, the Nimzo, with the e4, knight c6 as black, and I always get this queen g5 and either knight f4 or knight h4 and some blitz games, and a lot of times the bishop is on c8 still, that diagonal, and it's just like sack mate.
Mhm.
But not quite there yet. But we were talking about this. Kasparov said, a knight on f5 as white is worth a pawn. So maybe a
Yeah.
knight on f4 as black is worth a pawn.
It would also be worth the pawn, yeah. It's the exact same knight. And I mean, we can see it, right? It's like queen g5. It's not easy here for Magnus.
Yeah, it seems like you're starting to feel like gotta be a little careful. Again, I'm not suggesting at all he's worse, but
Yeah, he should be fine, but yeah, the question is, can Magnus fight for an advantage here? And that I'm really struggling to see how white could be better.
yeah, I agree with that. So, I mean, you could play something like 94. Does that make any sense? And like, I don't know if I'm not saying knight d6 is necessarily, I guess I'm just trying to, like, where do the pieces go for white?
Good question. I like 94, makes sense. That bishop is very strong. You'd be happy to trade it off.
For sure.
Yeah, f5 would be a concern.
Yeah, because then, right, just knight d6 does nothing. You got like bc5, and then the knight is in trouble.
Yeah, or you just start taking on g2.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. That's probably much better. Yeah, so I guess it's all about defending g2 at this point.
Yeah.
I would assume. I assume you don't want that pawn to go away. I mean, maybe knight f3 makes sense. It's sort of the same idea.
Right.
But yeah, so Magnus almost half the time as Jan.
Yeah, he's really going into the tank here. Wonder what he's calculating.
Yeah, I'm kind of watching the cameras of both of them here. I like Neponiashti. He's always very expressive. He's like fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I need to not watch him, I guess. Okay, so we bishop f1. Okay, well, so protect, it seems reasonable, keeping g2 protected. And yeah, I mean, this seems just fine for black.
Looks absolutely fine. Yeah. Yeah, I think bishop f1 was Magnus kind of giving up on any advantage essentially, because right now he just takes, and if anything, black has a slightly better structure and somewhat more active pieces, but white's position I think is solid enough that he should be absolutely fine here.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think either side is in any dire straits in this position, would be, again, my feeling.
Yeah, which means probably we're gonna see another draw.
Draw number 6, potentially.
Yeah. So essentially this match is gonna be decided by like one game, more or less.
Yeah.
We're gonna have like 2 games left in the regulation, then Blitz tiebreak 2 games, and then Armageddon. Knight c4 from Magnus. Very logical.
How do you feel about Armageddon? I know a lot of people are like, no, tournaments shouldn't be decided that way. I'm of the belief, like, you got to do something at some point. These people can't, they don't want to fund a Kasparov-Karpov match where it goes, for I'm exaggerating here, 25 months, however long that one went.
Yeah. No, I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, yeah, match has to end somehow, right? So,
yeah.
What can you do? I think it's good. I think it's a good format.
Yeah, I agree. I have no qualms.
Yeah.
And, these people, they're professionals and they get contracts. And if that's what you agree to, you can't, it's what you agree to.
Yeah, of course. No, I mean, and for regular tournaments, I would say it's not needed. Like, I'm fine with 2 winners, like 2 people tie for first, like an open tournament or Swiss tournament or whatever. But yeah, when you have to determine a champion, then it has to be some kind of knockout. And yeah, ultimately that always ends with Armageddon.
Have you ever had a Armageddon situation where you're playing for the prize?
Yeah, it's not like official Armageddon, but more like I'm half a point behind, and if I win, then I win. If I don't win, then I lose.
Okay.
Right, because the opponent is like half a point ahead. So it's kind of like pseudo Armageddon in a sense. Yeah, those games are always very, very stressful.
So like in a tournament situation, is that what you mean?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're in that situation, are you more like, are you playing for your rating or are you playing for the result?
Oh, usually I'm playing for the result. Yeah, I'm trying to win the game. Or hold if I need to draw or something. But
right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
in general, I just try to win every game. That's my MO. Okay, G3 from Magnus.
Okay, just saying what's going on with that knight. I think he's had enough of knight f4 hanging out there.
Yeah, a little weakening, but he has everything covered, so he's probably fine.
Yeah, that bishop on f1 is doing some nice guard duty. Assume you just drop back to e6. I guess, maybe you go to d5, but it seems like e6 and at least sort of you're eyeing the d4 and f3 square if you,
Right.
and maybe in a perfect world.
So Rook d8, but yeah, 96. This one seems very good, but okay, Rook d8 is a nice tempo.
Okay. Can you just take on f4? What's the problem? Let's just take on f4 here.
Wait, what?
Can you just take on f4?
Yeah, no, I heard you. I'm shocked. Like, what's going on?
Like what? Yeah, like what? Okay.
I think he just sacked a piece, but Magnus is confused. Queen takes. Queen e2.
I'm very confused here. Again, I'm not 2800 plus or 2700 plus, but like genius modes, like, sure. He said you're inspirational. Yeah, or she. I don't know. I think we're always presumption. He or she. Yeah, I agree. I find it inspirational as well. Go for the gusto.
Thanks. But what did Nepo just do? What happened? Dude, I think he blundered this GF4.
Do you blitz it out? Is this classic?
I didn't even register because it's like not possible to blunder this, right, for these guys. But
yeah, the rook hits the queen, and you just move the queen, and
Yeah, that's crazy. And now queen e2, he's thinking, which makes me think like, yeah, this wasn't this wasn't planned. Oh man.
How long? I don't know if we don't, I don't know. Like, how long did he think on?
I have it here on Chess24. He spent 48 seconds on Rook 88.
Okay, so it's not like he totally blitzed it out, but like what?
Yeah.
Like, it feels like you're not getting checkmated here as white with that bishop and the knight and the. I mean, it feels like there's plenty of resources here for.
Yeah, I think he just had a complete blackout. Very
yeah.
unfortunate. He somehow doesn't seem to be too phased, but he must have realized that he blundered.
You're making some friends in the some fans in the Twitch chat, Kostya. So.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, just checking out the main stream just to see what's their reaction.
Yeah, what do you all think here? White or black? Is black, it's a blunder, or do you think there's some counterplay here? I mean, I always say I don't see it, but that doesn't mean anything in many ways,
No, but the time usage is very telling.
Right.
Because if there was something to calculate, he would have spent more time on Rook 88. And he spent some time there, but yeah, if he had a move here, he would have pretty much just played it by now.
So somebody's Italian machine saying potential draw, Rook Fe8, 93, Queen G5, King H2, Queen F4. I would think after 93, Queen G5, you just play Queen G4. That's what I would play.
That probably saves or wins the game for white.
Yeah. So.
But I mean, it's a good question. Like Bishop G2, not possible because Bishop takes.
Right.
And the knight is pinned. But yeah, Queen G4 looks good.
Yeah, he was suggesting, or she again. I falling in my own trap. Yeah, King H2. But yeah, I think Queen G4 might be just fine there. To sort of shield from the checks and threaten. If clearly black wouldn't want to exchange, and now white's got a tempo, and it feels like the king's safe, and you start trading. So
Rook Fe8 played. Queen D3.
Okay, so part of your idea, Italian, yeah. So maybe H5 is coming at some point. Feels like, yeah, I don't know. I think black's just busted. I don't know. So I'm peeking. Yeah, it does look like H5 is the suggested move, but it's still giving white still 93 after that. Like, white still is totally winning. Yeah, I mean, H5 definitely certainly feels like, that's what I was looking at as well. Feels like that's, I mean, what else do? You don't want to trade rooks. The bishop is not going to be improved on C6. It's sort of an optimal place. And
it goes back, knight H2. No, nothing wrong with H5.
No.
Nepo played the move.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and I don't see what else you do to sort of at least try to mix the pot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Italian. Yeah, I don't understand.
They were saying before Rook Fe8. Okay. Yeah, it was possible here as well.
I see.
I mean, it's logical to want to get the tempo against the queen first. I'm not sure if H5 first was better or Rook Fe8. I don't really see a reason why this one would be better first necessarily. Maybe there's
maybe it stops Queen G4 stuff or something.
Yeah.
But even now, like Queen G3, I mean, that queen would like to get on that diagonal, but there's no good way that A8 to H1 diagonal. Maybe then, like, at least you're threatening to get to H1. Even then, though, you can play F3. It's not like that's that's any major accomplishment. So
Yeah.
I don't see where Black's um, White always has queen g3 here if needed. It just feels like the king is perfectly safe, and if the king is perfectly safe and you're up a piece, then materials almost equal. And Black has a pawn for the piece, but that's not going to be enough.
Yeah. I mean,
So yeah,
right. I see chess point. They wanted to go h5.
Right.
So that so here there would be no knight h2 because queen g5 check.
Exactly.
But in this case, White would just go knight e3 and then hitting this one.
And now if check, also bishop g2, you don't have the knight being
Right.
pinned like we did in the other line with the rook on e8.
Yeah, because the tempo Black used here is actually being used here. So now there's no, Black is not in time. So they could try rook fe8 here.
Let's play queen f1 or king h1 or something.
White should have a move. Yeah, king h1 doesn't cut it, but I think queen f1 looks okay. Just getting out of the pin.
Yeah.
And defending this one, so stopping all kinds of rook takes threats. I mean, some options, but yeah, definitely feels like White just has enough pieces to hold here. Which not too surprising. I mean, extra piece on the king side.
Yeah, so there's been some positions that have gone back and forth where I think both of them had, I'm sure according to the eval, we're doing really well.
Yeah, Talent Machine saying forced draw, but I don't think that's right. At least like on the Chess24 site, like Engine saying White's winning there. Pretty much after the piece sack or the piece blunder, I don't know what to call it. To rook 88, White I think just has a winning advantage.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I mean some of these, we've seen some of these positions where they've gone back and forth and maybe one side was losing or winning. Like if Magnus doesn't win this, I will be.
Yeah, this is like way more winning than right. The other games we've seen, like they're winning if they find some concrete detail. I guess Magnus had a nice chance yesterday. He kind of blundered, but even there, it was kind of like an only move. It wasn't the easiest defensive move to find. But this, he doesn't have to find any only moves to win the game anymore. It's just like piece up.
Yeah.
Just has to make sure not to blunder.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, good point, Italian. Yeah. So right, you missed rook on e8 and yeah. So that's the problem, right? You're sort of trading one thing for the other.
Right, either h5 or rook e8. Yeah.
Yeah. So easy to do.
But yeah, Nepo's gonna try to again stir up some drama, but it's yeah, I know. Don't even think you need to be Magnus to win this position. It's not quite so winning that I feel like I would win in a blitz game, but it's close.
I like if it was you versus Jan again, you know, the opponent actually is super strong. I would still, you know, I mean, time's a factor, but
yeah, and the position is still very sharp. Like Black has rook e6 ideas, rook g6.
Yeah.
There are definitely ways for White to go wrong here. So yeah, I don't think I'd be a favorite in this position actually.
You're very modest. I was gonna say, can you can you just play bishop g2 and so what happens here? Queen g3, I assume.
Yeah, I would think.
And then just say, like stuff you just you're just getting stuff off the board.
Yeah.
Again, in bullet, I just play queen g3. I don't know if it's good.
Mm-hmm. The score is 50-50, but probably Magnus is going to go up 1 point after this game.
Yeah, and if the other two are draws, that's all that he needs.
Yeah, I'm sure both players are super tired here.
Yeah, I mean, they've been doing this for today again. It's day number 8, but I guess they're used to it, right? They're professionals.
Yeah.
But still.
So last day, lots of pressure, lots of money on the line. I wonder, do you think Magnus feels awkward like winning events put on by his own company? Chess24.
I kind of sort of wondered that. I feel like he should also be like, yeah, let's. I'll take a little bit less of a cut. But no, good for him. I mean, I think he's creating a lot of opportunities for a lot of players, right? And
yeah, overall, it's a great thing, of course. Yeah, I just wonder.
I can't imagine he goes to sleep at night worrying about it. You know?
Can't believe I won my own tournament.
Would you visit the Olympiad if it was hosted in USA or Canada? I would love to see the Chess Olympiad. Yeah, I am. I'm excited that the Singfield Cup and all that stuff. That's the only thing I visit in USA. But like I was excited when St. Louis started sort of putting on these events, because for a long time you didn't see those big events in USA. And even other than, I mean, that I think that's certainly the biggest one that happens in USA. So yeah, I agree. Upstate Ghost, I think they're tired. I agree with that. But I think too, just, I think Neponiashi just had a little bit of a blackout maybe in that position.
Yeah. Actually, that's an interesting point about glucose. Of course, I don't really understand this stuff at all, so maybe chat could help me out here. But Kramnik was saying something about that as well in this interview, about how in his match with Kasparov, there was one critical game that ended up in a draw where Kramnik was winning. And in fact, at one point, he misses a very trivial win because he has like a hallucination. He calculates a position, and it's like he literally has mate on the board, but in his mind, he thinks it's a stalemate. He doesn't realize it's checkmate. So he has like a terrible miscalculation for someone of his level, and he ends up not winning the game. And he attributed it to just like a lack of energy, because it was like the 6th hour and he hadn't eaten anything as well. So he was saying like his blood glucose levels are low. And then from that point on, he actually started bringing like fruits and little snacks to the board to make sure his levels are high. And
well, I follow a lot of I'm an avid cyclist, at least usually good weather cyclist. When the weather's nice, I probably ride at one point I was riding almost 300 miles a week many years ago. And but now like the top professional teams, they all have they're called continuous glucose monitors. So they're getting like measurements of their glucose you get measurements every 5 minutes. So you're constantly seeing. It'd be interesting. I wonder if that's going to be, maybe the chess players need some continuous glucose monitors just to be like, hey, it's time to eat, and I know cycling has gotten really big with statistics and technical data, and they have been for a long time, but it's gotten really, extremely scientific over the past, I would say, 10 years, and they're just tracking anything and everything. So yeah, I wonder if chess players will start doing that. Maybe I'm
super interested, right?
You can be patient zero, Kostya.
Yeah. So what is the idea behind tracking the levels? Is to like track your energy or something more specific?
It's just sort of, so it's just I assume that's what it is. I think that's what it boils down to, is just what's your, so there's normal glucose levels, and sometimes they go high and sometimes they go low. And I'm sure so in cycling, there's like, they have power meters and, how much watts you're putting out and how long and duration. And, I'm sure they have this, like somebody is crunching those numbers and looking at exactly, okay, your glucose is low and so's your wattage, or your glucose is in this range and you're doing good, or if it's in this range, you're doing great. And I don't know all the details, but there's a lot of people are starting to track that stuff. So it's been interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's always felt very intuitive that your physical fitness will affect your chess form because as anyone who's played like a OTB tournament, it takes a lot of energy. You're sitting there for like 6 hours. Your brain is working the whole time, and I mean, actually, I would say some players, they don't even put their max effort because it's kind of hard. You have to like really sit there and like really focus and yeah, I mentioned this before, but like I always lose weight during tournaments because I was just like, I feel like I eat normally even, maybe even more than normal, but yeah, it just feels like a ton of energy is expended during the games. Magnus here, I think, is wrapping it up as the queen and knight have found their way to infiltrate, and now
this looks like big trouble.
Everything is collapsing. I think it's going to be resigns. Yeah, there it is.
Okay. Yeah. I think that was just a blunder by Neponiashchi at some point. And Magnus, I'm going to peek at the cams, and
yeah, pure blunder.
And Magnus is shaking his head too, like I can't believe that's what happened. And but I'm sure he's happy to take it. But yeah, and just briefly to circle back to what we were saying 2 seconds ago. Yeah, same thing. When I play Blitz, sometimes like when I'm focused, I'm doing good. And other times I'm just I just don't have the energy, but I'm still playing, and I'm just like, why am I doing this?
Yeah, that's when you tell yourself you're just playing for fun and you don't worry about the result, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, I think both players are a little stunned here. Neponiashchi was clearly not happy, and I think again Carlsen was sort of can't believe that, especially after the past couple days, that this was sort of the manner that he won this game in. So
yeah. Oh, and this was game 6. People in the Chess24 chat are pointing out. So again, Nepo loses a key game 6.
Oh yeah. Good
That's
point. So hopefully we won't have a complete implosion like we did in the World Championship. Neponiashchi's still sitting at the board or looking at the screen, just like.
Oh yeah, I mean, if I blunder like that against Magnus, like I'd be angry. Like obviously I'm gonna lose to Magnus no matter what, but. Yeah, like that blunder is just so egregious. It's just like, oh my god, like, what am I doing?
Yeah,
just total loss of focus.
Yeah. Well, there's still 2 games to go, but Jan's got his work cut out for him. At least he has white in the next game. But
back.
Yeah, I think the next game's gonna be his chance, and I mean he has one more after that. But as we all know, white is where you try to, I think, usually make it happen. But yeah, I was gonna say interesting in a different way that game was. But all right, yeah, Mr. Kostya, you want to take a few minutes, and everybody, we'll be back in a little bit. I think they took a touch over 10 minutes before, but we'll hop back probably a little bit before then, and we can chit chat and just keep going.
I think next game will be starting 11 a.m. Pacific time, but yeah, we'll be on a couple minutes before that. Okay. I want to continue this conversation about glucose because I'm really very interested in it. And I think it is important for chess players because it's something that it gets taken for granted, People are often like, oh, I'll just eat whatever. And
no, I think, Magnus, again, we can keep talking about it briefly, but yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the top players now are, I know Caruana is big into jogging, and Magnus is obviously super physical. And I think, people realize like chess is exhausting, and you have to be in good physical form to sit there for hours and hours just to like concentrate at that level. But again, we can jump back into this in a little bit, but it 100% is an interesting conversation. So who was it? Was it you, Upstate Ghost, that brought this up? I think that was you. So yeah, great. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, perfect. So thanks for bringing it up. It's definitely an interesting, no, not a troublemaker. I think it's a great, a very fascinating point.
Good topic.
Yeah, absolutely good topic. So, all right, everybody, we'll be back in a few minutes. I'm going to grab a couple bites to eat, and we'll be back in just a little bit.
Yes.
Okay, so let's send a challenge.
Here is challenging me. Nice graphics, easy to see. What are you thinking about? You're looking how it can be the most painful?
Exactly. Okay, fine.
So that I give up a phone. He wants to be even rude.
I'm ahead of the game. Well, the phone is always ringing. I'm caught up on the line. Got a string around my finger. Remember who am I? I'm a boss and I'm honestly off my rocker. But follow me. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. Well, I'm only ever slinging. I'm working overtime. Got a song and I'm the singer. The melody, the vibe. I'm a prodigy. Logically, I'm impossibly wanted. And they'll remember my name. They'll remember my name. Ooh, well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. Well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. Well, I'm ahead now. Well, I'm ahead now. I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game.
My name is Sam Shankland. I was the US champion in 2018. My goal is to keep things as simple as possible, but no simpler. So if I believe there is an easy solution to something, I'm giving it. No questions asked. Thanks much, and I wish you the best for all your studying.
As a kid, I spent hours every day reading about chess. About openings, chess history, and games played between world champions, grandmasters, all of them. My apps make learning much easier. Everything I know you can find in my apps. Magnus Trainer, Tactics Frenzy, and Play Magnus. You can learn the basic rules of chess, train with our 400 lessons, and even play against my digital self. Download and try my apps for free.
My name is Giri. I am a top grandmaster from the Netherlands. The lines and the recommendations that I give are well suited for players of all levels. So I really explain a lot of concepts, but also a lot of basic things. Now it's your move. Don't waste any time. Hit that buy button.
Hi, I'm Grandmaster Judith Polgar, and I'm here to welcome you in the Chessable classroom. It combines a shared chessboard with live video. Teachers get to interact on the chessboard with their students and even run quizzes and tournaments. I really love what Chessable Classroom can offer. I use it myself all the time. Just invite students to your classroom and start teaching right there. No downloads needed, and it's for free.
Hi there, it's me, John Chess, inventor of chess. And are you sick of sucking at chess? Well, lucky for you, I have also invented aim chess. Look at this chess puzzle. Did you solve it? Of course not, that's because you're not using aim chess. Aim chess is a digital chess trainer that helps you improve by creating unique lessons based on your recent games. Just link your chess.com or VChess account and feel that brain wrinkle. Yeah, see, you shouldn't have blundered your queen just there. Now I know! Thanks, Aim Chess! Now all that's left to figure out is how that funny horse moves. They even got acquired by that one chess player other than Hikaru, so you know it's good. Hi, it's me, that guy I just mentioned, and I am the best chess man in the world. But thanks to Aim Chess, I also have a girlfriend now as well. This could be you! Personalized training, game reports and analysis disease, study plans, thick, luscious hair, intuition builder, all this and more available on Aim Chess.
Hello?
Courtney, did you know that Aim Chess users improve their ratings 43% faster than average? So what are you waiting for? Join Aim Chess today. Links will be somewhere, probably. I don't know, I just made the video. Aim Chess. Sign up now and get 50k silver and 2 free months off your VPN. Now that's what I call a Queen's Gambit.
That's so fucking dumb.
Aim Chess, for when you aim to chess. That's their slogan. It's what they say. Ready, aim, chess. That's another. Look, just sign up for Aim Chess, okay? Just come on. Literally, why not? All right, just stop being a dick for like 5 seconds and just go. All right? Jesus Christ.
Hey folks, I'm International Master Kostya PatrickJMT, and I'm really excited to be presenting my first ever course for Chessable. I've been a big fan of Chessable for many years, and I'm often recommending a lot of the courses to my students. So yeah, it's a real pleasure to finally be previewing my first course for this platform. So this is Endgame Studies 101. And let me just make it clear right off the bat that this is not your typical endgame course. We're not going to be looking at specific rook endgames or looking at high-level examples of endgame play. Instead, this course is all about endgame studies, which, if that's not a term you've heard before, an endgame study is basically a composed puzzle, typically featuring few pieces on the board, where the solutions tend to be quite elegant, if not even artistic. Now, endgame studies are generally designed to be quite tricky. The solutions are rarely straightforward. But the point in solving studies is that they can be great for developing your ability to calculate, your imagination, your resourcefulness, your creativity at the board, and simply put, your ability to find unexpected but truly ingenious solutions at the board. And this is why endgame studies are often used by many chess coaches worldwide, including myself. I personally love giving endgame studies to my students because I feel like it develops their ability to think creatively, to think outside the box. And in solving a lot of studies, one really tends to get a feeling for how the pieces work together in the endgame. It can really strengthen your sense of piece harmony and coordination. Here we can see all of the chapters in the course, and what I've done is I've divided the course up into 4 major parts. So in part 1, we have our tactical foundation. And this is where we're going to be focusing on specific tactical themes that are often arising in endgame studies. So this section is going to be very much about pattern recognition, as I've included a lot of the most common patterns that are often coming up in endgame studies. A lot of tricks, a lot of nice tactics, and hopefully ideas that will show up in your actual real-life games. We start off with a couple chapters on the tactical themes, attraction, deflection, and interference. Attraction and deflection, I believe, are relatively well known. Interference is a very pretty and artistic theme that comes up in endgame studies quite a bit and is well worth knowing. Then chapter 4 is all about passed pawn tricks, where we're going to be looking at typical ways of getting your pawn to that final promotion square, as well as creative ways of dealing with enemy passed pawns. And then in chapter 5, we're going to be focusing on mating nets, where I'm going to be presenting some of the most common mating patterns that are often coming up in endgames and endgame studies. So I'd like to stress that I really try to make this course have as much practical value as possible, which is why I mainly focused on studies that I felt could realistically have come from a real game. Because ultimately, this is all about chess improvement, and I do believe that anyone that goes through the course will start seeing some of these ideas and patterns start to come up in their games time and time again. So let's take a look at one of these chapters. Looks like, let's go to chapter 3. So here we have chapter 3, which is all about the interference theme. And what you'll see at the top of each chapter is a video. Now, I designed the course to be perfectly standalone, but if you would like to see me explaining some of the themes and concepts in each chapter, as well as going through some of the puzzles, then the video component is available as well. So here we have the first problem from chapter 3, which is all about interference. And if you haven't seen an interference tactic before, it really is one of the prettiest and most artistic themes out there, really one of my favorites. And if you'd like to solve this puzzle, it's white to play and win. I'd encourage you to pause the video at this point and think for yourself for a few minutes before coming back to see the solution. So this is the end of the study, actually composed by the great Russian composer Alexei Trotsky, really one of my favorite composers. A lot of his studies are featured in this course. And if we take stock of what's going on here, well, white is down a full rook, but has a couple of really strong pass pawns in the position. The problem for white is that both of these pawns seem to be stopped. Black's bishop is covering the a8 square, and black's rook is covering the e8 square. And it doesn't seem like there's a way for white to promote their pawns, but in fact, there is. So the solution is the really elegant and truly amazing move, bishop to e4. Really an amazing shot, simply getting in the way of both of black's pieces. This is where the term interference comes from, because white's bishop is interfering with black's forces here. And even though this bishop can be taken two different ways, the problem is whichever way black takes, one of their pieces is going to be cut off. So if the bishop captures on e4, then the rook is stuck behind the bishop on the e-file. White will play e8 equals queen and mates black's king. And of course, if the rook captures on e4, then the bishop is blocked off and white simply promotes the a-pawn and delivers mate this way. So not the most challenging problem, it's a two-move solution, but of course this move bishop to e4 is not an easy one to find, especially if you've never seen this kind of idea before. And that's kind of the point of the first part in this course, the tactical foundation, is to just show the key tactical motifs that you need to know when you're solving some of these endgame studies. So this is of course just a truly gorgeous move, a gorgeous shot, and it's just one example of some of the many beautiful solutions that you'll find in the course. So that's going to wrap it up for this preview of the course. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, if you would like to dive into the world of endgame studies and improve your calculation and your imagination and your overall feeling for the endgame itself, I hope you truly consider picking up the course. I spent a lot of time and effort trying to make this course as best as I could. And I hope it really helps a ton of chess players out there improve their skills. So thanks for watching and hope.
Hey folks, sorry about that, but we have game 3 live. And Sicilian, another Sicilian from Magnus, this time with e6.
I assume Jan is probably happy about this. I mean, he needs to, after losing the last game, needs to get some chances. And Sicilian is always right.
No, I mean, in a must-win game, open Sicilian. Like, what more can you ask for?
Yes.
No, absolutely. And I'm really excited actually to see, because this is one of the hottest lines. This is known as the Taimanov Sicilian. Which I've played quite a bit, and nowadays this is really one of the sharpest ways white can fight for an advantage here. So I'm sure this is not new to Magnus, but we'll see what he comes up with.
Yeah, and Jan is, they're both, haven't used too much time, but Jan is way up on the time. Do you think, again, that's just sort of I mean, again, you need a crystal ball. I've said that before, but do you think that's just because he knows what he's doing, or you think he's just like lashing out after the last game?
No, he knows the position. G4, this has become really, really trendy. Queen F3 here, of course, has been the main move for a couple of years now, at least the most popular move at the high levels. But they figured out that you can just play, the G4 and the Sicilian has been a thing for a long time, but mainly when there's already a knight on F6, and then it's kind of a move to harass the knight. But they realize, you know what, the knight's going to F6 anyway, so let me just start with G4, and then once it gets to F6, I'll play G5 and kick it. Yeah, Magnus reacts, I think, with one of the main ways that black has in this position, which is to trade on D4, go B5, and okay, black is just developing, white castles queenside, and it's a pretty thematic, open Sicilian with kings that are going to be castled on opposite sides of the board, black having a lot of counterplay on the c-file, and yeah, definitely white usually holds the initiative in these positions at the get-go, but then once we leave the opening, of course anything can happen in the middle game.
Well, I think, was it Mikhail Tall said, I'm not sure if it was him, but he said, in the Sicilian, like, if once black equalizes, I think he said, if black is equal, black is better. Like,
right.
once you sort of stabilize and everything's good, then you usually have really good long-term chances.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth to that. And it's very simple. It's because white gave up a center pawn for black's c pawn. So in the long run, black is going to have better control over the center. And, we don't talk about the importance of the center for no reason. It really counts for something. Your position feels better when you control the center. And so in order to get this kind of strategic edge, black, of course, has to be willing to go behind in development, making a lot of pawn moves in the opening. But yeah, that's what makes it very, very double-edged.
And interesting, right? I mean, it's what makes it fun.
And perfect for a must-win situation for either side, frankly. Like if Magnus was in a must-win situation, I think he would love to get this opening out of, or this position out of the opening.
Yeah.
All right, now Nepo goes bishop h3, typical way to harass this knight on h5.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like, I think it's like, again, hats off to Magnus too, because he didn't have to reply to e4 with c5. I mean, he's up in the match. I mean,
could
he
have easily played Berlin, Petrov, anything he wanted, right?
So, yeah, again, shout out to him. Not that he needs a shout out from me. He'll never hear that shout out, but yeah, yeah, not exactly playing it super safe. Are you familiar with these types of positions?
Yeah, I've played these structures on the black side quite a bit.
Okay.
Especially with this knight on h5, like it kind of looks funky, but at the same time, it is plugging up white's attack. Now he's hesitating here because he has a couple options. If he castles, white goes... Oh, I'm not able to castle in analysis for some reason. If he castles, white goes bishop g4, he'll have to go g6, and white can wreck that structure. Which is not the end of the world necessarily, but it's ugly for black.
Yeah.
He can also go g6 right away, which I think is the other move he's thinking about, but then he might have to deal with stuff on the diagonal, like bishop d4, queen d4, or bishop g4 first, and then one of these moves anyway, and h4. So for example, g6, bishop g4, knight g7, maybe h4, and yeah, if black castles here, then h5 becomes very dangerous, and yeah, well, I mean, white's attack is pretty clear. But
Coach Jeff, if we ever do this again, I'm going to petition someone and be like, please let us castle. Please let Kostya castle.
I can't castle in analysis. It's crazy. Of course, d pawn is also kind of hanging in this position. That's also relevant. It's hard for black to castle. Maybe that's why it's not letting me. It doesn't want to give up the d pawn.
It's like you're blundering. Oh, don't do that. Yeah, no,
Magnus goes b4, a third choice. Okay, throwing this one in makes sense. Because then you open up this pressure on the c file. It makes it harder for white's queen to move away. It also kicks the knight away from the center. The drawback of this move is that after knight a4, white can activate the knight via the b6 square.
This is sort of a classic square for the white knight in Sicilian, correct?
Absolutely. And white's pieces are often kind of well coordinated to use this square. Queen f2, the bishop can come to b6 as well. So it's very double-edged because, again, the knight leaves the center. So Nepo actually goes knight e2. This is white's other big option, which is also very logical because here the knight's not as annoying, but he keeps the knight kind of more centralized, and you can put it on d4, where I would say it's very well placed, defending the c2 pawn, or he can consider playing knight g3 at some moment and challenging this knight another way.
So when you have this knight at h5, are you feeling good, or are you just like, hey, this is just part of the position and it's concrete? And
yeah, it's often fine, right? But you are worried about it. You always want to make sure that it doesn't get into trouble. So again, I think Magnus has to be thinking about g6 here. Or, yeah, hard to come up with an or. Maybe f6 even, but that would be, once he castles, I think f6 is more likely, but here I think it would be quite weakening. But not an easy position. You know, Magnus spending a lot of time, and Nepo looks very comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, again, these are positions I've seen them for sure a million times, but I don't really play them. But I mean, again, I would lose with either side, but it feels like white is doing. Again, he's, you know, I can't say that this is must win. There's still one more, but it seems like this will be the game that you're pushing since you have white. So yeah, it seems like he has lots of play and some chances. And what else? Again, what else can you ask for? Yeah, no, it's
What to do?
for sure.
I guess d5 is another move Black could be thinking about.
Would you want to do that this early with your king in the center? I mean, I'm not criticizing. I'm just like
No. Generally, it's risky. Yeah. But it's kind of logical as a follow-up to b4 because we kicked the knight away.
Well, there you go.
And I mean, and no, the fact that he wasn't playing g6 earlier means that he clearly didn't like something about that move. Otherwise, we would have just seen g6 very quickly. So if you're not going g6, then yeah, we see what Magnus has allowed. Then yeah, you have to create this drama sooner rather than later. So he lets Nepo pretty much break his structure, but at the cost of white's light squared bishop. And now he has this bishop that he's trying to open up on this diagonal.
Oh, well, okay. I'm trying to follow what's analysis and what's on the board. So yeah, okay, wow. Very interesting.
Yeah. And I mean, it feels like it's super risky for Black, but you could easily turn around as well. But I kind of like white's position right now. He has this very natural play on the dark squares.
And I'm not saying that he is, but it feels like Nepomniachtchi is just like sort of blitzing things out. I'm kind of like, I just want to be like
playing very fast.
Yeah, I'm just like, I just want to be like, slow down, man. Like, I think we were joking the other day, or I was, you know, it's like he needs one of like the little sunglasses and like, or whatever, you know, like you can't move until, you know, the sand is gone. Like stop and think.
And Magnus also kind of playing quickly here. I mean, he's down on time, but his last two moves, de4, e takes f3. He's like, he made them pretty fast. Like he isn't necessarily calculating super deep either. And I'm very surprised by that because it looks like a extremely sharp, dangerous position. White has like so many moves here. So yeah, but I guess Magnus doesn't mind.
Yeah, Upstate Ghost, you know, our glucose friend, he's likely seen this position hundreds and hundreds of times. I don't know about this particular one, but I'm sure he's seen stuff extremely similar hundreds and hundreds of times. So yeah, I wouldn't argue with that.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like the players are still in book, but who knows? Sometimes they do take time to kind of recall their notes. It's very possible Magnus has this or has seen all this before. I don't know.
Feels like they're both thinking though. I mean,
they look like they're thinking. I mean, a lot of times it's kind of a mix of both. It's like maybe you've even seen something before, but you don't remember all the details, so you still spend time to kind of warm up to the position. So you will see a lot of players kind of spending time, even though they know the move is like Rook D8 or whatever. They know like the move that they're going to play next. But, okay. Pawn up for Magnus. What a pawn, huh? Light square bishop also. It's like such a strong piece.
Yeah. But still, I mean, the king's sitting in the middle.
Yeah, this was Timon of Sicilian for those that did not see the whole game. And the interesting thing is, like, Magnus is actually a point up in the match because he won the last game. So he really didn't have to go for such a sharp position out of the opening. But, you know, clearly he doesn't really care against Nepo. He's willing to mix it up.
Yeah, and once again, I mean, like, shout out to him. He could have played it safe, but yeah, he's keeping it lively, and I think it's great. It just shows his demeanor and his attitude.
Very much so. But okay, now he also has to deal with this position, like bishop f4, annoying move.
Yeah, Nepo stepped away briefly, so
yeah. So Magnus probably thinking about e5, but e5. Who knows? Maybe white even takes and tries to go queen d7 check. So he goes queen d8. Okay. Well, of course, wanting a queen trade, that would just be fantastic for black. Yeah, my guess is Nepo is going to sidestep this with like queen f2 or queen e3.
yeah, I was gonna say, I think, yeah, I would just probably play queen e3, and then say, yeah, you know, it's back on you. I don't know. I guess just queen e3 over queen f2. I don't know. It just feels like at least then you're in contact with the bishop. I don't know if that matters in any way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
But it's probably very superficial. No, it feels like, again, sort of anything could happen here. Yeah, maybe.
Absolutely.
I mean, maybe Nepomniachtchi will catch up this one, and we'll have a draw, and then I'll get my blitz. I keep very enthusiastically, you know, waiting for. So okay, so Nepomniachtchi is back at the board. So when you have these sort of sharp double-edged positions, do you get nervous, or just like, this is what I signed up for, Kostya, when you play these?
I usually am not happy with the turn of events. I'm usually like, why did I get myself into this mess? You know, unless it's good for me, then I'm like, yes, okay, let's mate.
This is why I played it, right? Okay.
Yeah, queen e3. No, I mean, it's a really tough call. Like, even if objectively black is okay here, the position just looks so scary. But bishop d5 for Magnus. One in queen a5, it looks like. Maybe?
I was gonna say, yeah. It's like, I mean, does white have to be keeping an eye out for queen a5 here? Like, is that a big threat?
I don't know. Queen a5, b3.
Yeah.
Rook c3. Queen goes somewhere. The problem for black is not just that the king is weak, but it's also that the rook on h8 is going to have a hard time entering the game. Because if black castles, they just get mated after like knight f6 check and bishop e5, rook g1. It's just extremely dangerous. Okay, Nepo now thinking.
Okay, Kostya, if you're white, what do you play here?
Queen
e5, h4. Do something with the rook on h1, b3. Feels like there's a lot of.
Yeah.
A lot of options.
I mean, queen e5 makes sense. h4 also makes a lot of sense. So you can play bishop e5 safely, not worry about the g-pawn.
Right.
I kind of like h4.
Does b3 do anything just to say, hey, nothing's
b3,
happening?
it's like a prophylactic move, yeah.
But, rook c3
Not sure if it
feels a
would be
little
worth it, yeah, to play right now. Like, you kind of want to force black to play queen a5, and then you play b3, and then they got to move their queen again if they, want to do something. So, yeah, the nice thing about b3 is, like, if white could relocate the bishop to b2, then that's just, like, the greatest bishop of all time. Like, you're defending your own king and just totally dominating that whole diagonal. But hard to achieve, tempo by tempo.
Okay, so Jan, who was moving super quickly, is definitely spending some time here.
Yeah, now he's thinking.
He spent what, almost 5 minutes here? I mean, he's spending a chunk of change.
Yeah, knight f6. Might be the first time he's thought for real. Whole game. Not sure. He goes for knight f6 check, which is very forcing because black trades the bishop off. Now I don't think he's going to take a second time because of bishop e5. Yeah, I guess he was kind of forced. If king f8 here, then just dark squares, right? Bishop e5, and you're totally dominated. Then b3, bishop b2, and white controls everything. So Magnus takes gf, and now this is the live position. And I mean, it's very scary for Magnus here. Because, when we have opposite color bishops on the board, the side that's attacking essentially has an extra piece in the position.
But is white really attacking anymore?
I would think so. Yeah. I mean, to me, black's king still looks super unsafe on e8, especially with this f6 pawn. Now, black definitely can get some counterplay here, but yeah, as far as the king safety goes, I would think white is ahead.
Yeah, I guess again, concretely, I'm like, yeah, I agree, like the king's in the center, but how do you get at it? Like what's...
Well, here, like, my next moves would be, my next move could be rook g1, if I was white.
Yeah. Can you just play, like, rook g6?
Rook g6 to defend. Yeah. Maybe, like, bishop e5 there, just to solidify.
Yeah.
And then something like b3, just to make sure, maybe start running the h-pawn, like h4, h5. Some infiltration, like some queen a7s. I don't know. Feels like there's a lot of inroads into black's position. There's no way to, like, cover everything.
Okay.
But I could be wrong. I mean, it's just, yeah, optically, it looks like black's king is quite exposed.
Yeah, I just don't see how you quite, again, you quite get at it at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, and Jan's spending his time. I mean, clearly it's not so easy. He has a lot to think about. I mean, black certainly has his trumps as well. I mean, pawn on f3 is good. Bishop on d5, if he can hold on to it, is a good piece. The real question is just about the initiative. Like, the side that's kind of creating threats and calling the action. A lot of times I feel like they have a big practical advantage.
So there's one question from Vanek in Twitch that says, what about just like rook d2 and double up on the d file and, try to create some threats? I think that's
very sensible move.
Yeah, seems reasonable. Yeah, no,
E5, probably B3. What I would play.
So you say probably. What else would you play if not B3 there?
I don't know. B3 feels like a 99% move to me,
Okay.
but I still say probably.
Okay. I didn't know if there was something else you were pondering. Did Nepo blunder last game? Yeah, it felt like it. I don't think it was a mouse slip, or I think he just had a little miscalculation. Is my guess.
For his level, I would call that a pretty serious blunder.
Yeah. Okay.
I think maybe he miscalculated something later, but
I'm trying to be nice.
Yeah. But you get to a certain level where it's like, unless a move is actually forced, like it's the only legal move in the position, there are so many cases where it's like the obvious move ends up wrong or incorrect or just tactically suspicious that you learn that there are very, very few absolutes in chess. So even a position like this, like Queen A5, it looks like B3 is like the most obvious response. You never really know. Like maybe there's something you're missing, and maybe no, actually you have to sack the exchange, or you have to play A3 or some other thing. You never fully know, so you always have to stay humble. I think if you always believe that your first idea is best, it's like unless you're Magnus Carlsen, like, you're probably not going to play great chess overall. Like you have to be willing to challenge your initial ideas and reassess and consider different moves.
Upstate Ghost mentioned Emery Tate. So yeah, did you ever play Emery Tate, Kostya?
Unfortunately, no. I saw him in quite a few tournaments, but no, I don't think we ever played one-on-one.
So he for those of you who don't know, he was he a FIDE master? I don't think he was an international. I know
he was an IM
FIDE master. Mm-hmm. Was he an IM?
Yeah, I think he might have had a couple of GM norms as well, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, very incredibly kind. I did get to play him once a long time ago on ICC.
Cool.
And so this is I don't want to call him out, but I was able to beat him. I had black, and he played F4 against me, the bird, my favorite. And it was very I'm sure he would have crushed me over the board in real life, but yeah, that was the only time I got to play him, and I was able to score one against him, and I knew who he was, and I was like super nervous. I was like, oh, it's Emery Tate, he's playing me. And but yeah, I was super stoked that I was able to beat him, because I knew what a legend he was and what a strong just tactical player he was. But yeah, that game unfortunately didn't go his way, but for me, I was just like, yes, I beat Emery Tate. So,
yeah, I think I might have played him on ICC as well. That kind of sounds familiar.
he was
very active. Yeah,
I was gonna say, yeah, he was quite active on there. So, but that was a long time ago. So, but yeah, a super fascinating player for sure.
Okay, so Rook G2 from Magnus. Speaking of active, very active move. Wanting to double.
I'm peeking here. This black is just totally winning. Negative 4.6.
Ooh, that's big.
Yeah.
What is going on? Yeah, because I guess he's now just taking the F6 pawn. Mm-hmm. And he's just like under total control of everything. Yeah, if this pawn comes off, then white really has nothing.
So. Yeah, I mean, you got to guard C2 and F6.
So I'm curious then, like, where did Nepo actually go wrong? Seems like his position was good. Like on knight h5, he's like winning. EF3. He threw in bishop f4, and maybe that wasn't right. Guess he had to go knight f6 check earlier.
So if Magnus does win this, are we done? I assume
that's
we're
it.
done.
It's GG. Yeah.
We're gonna have another early day. I don't think I'm gonna get my blitz that I've been hoping for. So.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I mean, game I You know,
It's
as
still
long as
going.
there's
Yeah,
mate
yeah,
on
I know.
e7, it's not really, never really over. So we'll see. We're just so used to Magnus being so good that it's like once he gets a winning position, we just expect like he's gonna convert it, you know, every time. But we'll
Yeah,
see. I
he
mean,
had
it's still very sharp. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I mean, he had a couple, especially yesterday, where it was like he's way up, and you know, the computer or you know, the engine would have said whatever, and he didn't convert those. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's still, I think, for human, at least for this human, like if I was Magnus here, I would be like, oh, you know, done and done. But yeah, just like trying to think, like, can you just play like Queen D7?
Yeah, I was just
And
highlighting
then
Rook D5 is kind of White's main threat here. Queen
yeah, so
D7
Queen
looks
D7, if
on the
is
board.
I think
Nice.
right, just King D7. You know, you obviously, I mean, well, I guess that's the only move.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jasper's is saying I would lose this easily for black. I can't even see why it's so good. I think the problem is like C2 is under big attack. I think that's probably part of it. But yeah, I agree, to be honest. I'm not sure. There's something concrete here. There's something tactical. But yeah, I don't think do you
Yeah, he just
chop on
goes back Queen
C2?
D4. Yeah, time to
Is there
take. I mean,
something?
why not?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess you have to calculate D5, but I mean, like at least then Magnus has a draw at the very least. You know,
But yeah, what's going on there? Takes Queen D5. Probably
assume
takes
you
here
take.
first.
Yeah,
King A1.
I assume. Okay, so just take, and like eventually Queen A4 is coming in there. I assume. Otherwise, you're getting mated on C1.
Right, so
Right.
take here. Why would have to give the queen?
Yeah, but even then, okay.
And
Just play like B3 and pick up. I mean, you can pick up the bishop, I guess, but I don't know. It still feels very crazy.
yeah, a lot of yeah, definitely not clear, but it feels like it could easily be winning for black. You also have like F2 you can throw in. I
Yeah,
mean, it
and you
could
can
easily go wrong as well, but if you get the bishop, then right, it's just too many
yeah,
pawns.
and you can always chop on F6 to give that king some protection. And yeah, White's got the rooks, but Black's got the queen and a ton of pawns, and like you said, that F pawn.
Yeah. So Magnus goes bishop C1, or Jan does.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, the other thing on Queen D5 is also like even the pure endgame, I think, could be really nice for black. Something like this, and like, let's say another check, and then B3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think this would be very scary for white, but I'm not sure. Let's go to the live position. So bishop C1. Now Magnus looking, I think he's just looking for a forced win at this point. I mean, his pieces are so active, and now, okay, black is the one with the initiative. Now black is the one that's kind of playing with the extra attacker here. That's why these opposite color bishop positions are so brutal.
Oh, what is this?
Ooh, takes on C1.
Oh man. So I guess take and queen C6. Okay, queen C6.
Mm-hmm.
I guess queen C is okay. So queen C2
Queen A4 or something.
or yeah, I was gonna say, or queen A4. Is there a bishop A2 check? What's happening here?
Queen C2, King A1. Okay, he goes Queen A4 immediately. And yeah, now
Yeah,
there's
how
no
do you-
queen d5 because queen c2, queen b2.
Yeah, so how do you stop mate here?
Good question. I guess a3 is a move,
Oof.
but then black just comes in on the light scores. Queen c2, queen b3.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's mate.
I
Can't
mean,
take
so-
on d5 because queen b2, and if king b1, then queen a2 and whoops, queen a1.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, you can see Jan in the camera. I think he knows that it's lights out.
Yeah, he doesn't look happy. He hasn't given up yet, but he doesn't look. He's starting to give up a little bit. He doesn't look happy. That was very cool. I just want to quickly check what would have
Wow.
happened on rook takes c1 in this position. Oh, then he's got bishop takes a2. That's the point. And queen on d4 is lost. So king takes c1, check, queen a4, and yeah, this could be resigns very soon. Magnus literally just threatening mate in 2 here.
Oh,
And it seems like any way you defend allows a different mate in 2.
yeah, this looks like big trouble.
Yeah. I guess maybe rook d2 continues the game, but really not for very long. Black is just going to take everything there.
Right.
Well done, Magnus. I mean, honestly, he had just like a perfect knockout series, right? Just like 2.5, 1.5 against Liam, 2.5 half against Artemiev. And here, okay, first day with Jan was very, very tough. I think Nepo played really well. Second day, okay. I mean, it was a big blunder by Nepo, but clearly Magnus kind of outlasted him in a sense.
Yeah, and he started off slow. I know, he was a little sick, and he's clearly bounced back from all that, which is great. Nobody wants to see anyone being sick, and so. But yeah, I mean, yesterday was tough. Okay, so rook d2, like you suggested, maybe, but yeah.
Takes, and that's resigns. Wow, bishop a2 is even cleaner. King here, queen here, and getting mated. And if king a1, then of course bishop b3, and we have our classic mate on the a file. So yeah, I was thinking even queen a2. I think this is also good. You can play here, for example, and
Right.
totally winning. But b3 looks nice. But yeah, bishop takes a2. I think just clinical, and that's it. Magnus is the champion.
Yeah, well, congrats to Magnus. What can you say? Again, he's I don't know if he's the GOAT, but if he's not, he's pretty close. So
Yeah.
he's there for a reason. So glad to see him feeling better again and healthy again. That's great. That's what we want. And yesterday's games were great. I think Poniashchi just ran into the Magnus wall today. But kudos to him. I mean, he was on fire during the first bunch of rounds, and I mean, he did great until again he just sort of hit this Magnus roadblock. So
Yeah.
but
No, he had a great
Yeah.
event. I'm sure he's very happy. He earned a lot of money.
yeah,
And should be said also, Nepo has been playing, during this whole like Russia-Ukraine conflict, and clearly it's been weighing on him. I think, he said some stuff about being against it, and yeah, I can speak from experience. It's very hard to play chess when there's other stuff on your mind, like personal issues, and I can only imagine that there's a lot of stuff on Nepo's mind. So the fact that he did play the level he did this week, I think, is quite commendable.
it's turned into it's always been a crazy world, but yeah, it's turned into a more crazy world, unfortunately, the past few days. So yeah, I agree, Jasper. Huge respect for him speaking up. Yeah, I agree. Kudos. He's got nothing but respect from me. So, but yeah, so this has been a blast. Again, this is just the first event of many that go on for the Meltwater Chess Champions Tour this year. That's the end of this one. And again, Magnus, clearly a deserving winner. Mr. Kostya, once again, I'll say it publicly, I have had a blast. I appreciate you here being here with me. I've enjoy you letting me interrogate you and your experiences, and it's been just phenomenal. I've had so much fun.
Likewise, sir. I've appreciated the routine, waking up, watching the best players in the world play Rapid, hanging out, talking about the games, saying wow a lot when something happened I didn't expect. It's been fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And shout out to Chess24, Chessable, Play Magnus Group. All of you all that maybe don't
and
know
Hans
them.
for letting us do this. Yeah,
I was gonna say, he was going to be my last. Yeah, for sure. Hans Niemann, thanks for letting us continue to stream on your Twitch channel for a little bit. For those of you that don't know us, you'll probably won't see us for a bit. When you get back on his Twitch channel, you'll be seeing Hans and not me and Mr. Kostya. But yeah, shout out to Hans. He was playing huge fighting chess. It was great to watch. We certainly wished a little bit better for him, but he's again playing the elite, and he's got time to he's going to score many points over the years. I have no doubt. But yeah, again, shout out to him for letting us do this, and it's been phenomenal. It's been great. I hope you all have enjoyed it, and yeah, I will see what happens in the future with these events. But no matter what, Hans will be back playing these events, and we hope for him to do the best, and just wish for him all the best, and just nothing but onwards and upwards.
Yeah. Thanks, Patrick. It's been very fun doing this with you. Thanks everyone for tuning in and hanging out as well. And I guess folks should definitely check out Patrick's YouTube channel, especially if they need any math help. Patrick sounds like one of the best. If you guys don't follow Chess Dojo Live yet, then make sure to do so. That's where I generally stream these days, and divert a lot of my energy to.
Are you still doing much stuff on your YouTube channel, Kostya?
Occasionally I'll release a video, but really not often. Sometimes I'll put some my tournament recaps, some of my games up there. Right. For the most part, just doing content for Dojo.
Okay. Well, again, I watched quite a few, and I thought they were super interesting. So yeah, keep doing what you're doing. I will. You've got a new subscriber and viewer in me. So
appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. So, all right. Well, thanks for spending the past week plus with us, everybody. It's been great, and yeah, we hope to see you all hopefully at some point in the future. So take care, enjoy the games, and stay safe and stay healthy and all that stuff, and just have a good rest of your day.
All right. See you, everybody.
Okay, so let's send a challenge.
Here is challenging me. Nice graphics, easy to see. What are you thinking about? You're looking how it can be the most painful?
Exactly. Okay, fine.
That I give up a phone. He wants to be even rude.
I'm ahead of the game. Well, the phone is always ringing. I'm caught up on the line. Got a string around my finger. Remember who am I? I'm a boss and I'm honestly off my rocker. But follow me, I'm ahead of the game. I'm ahead of the game. I'm only ever slinging. I'm working overtime. Got a song and I'm the singer, the melody, the vibe. I'm a prodigy. Logically, I'm impossibly one.
My name is Sam Shankland. I was the US champion in 2018. My goal is to keep things as simple as possible, but no simpler. So if I believe there is an easy solution to something, I'm giving it. No questions asked. Thanks much, and I wish you the best for all your studying.
As a kid, I spent hours every day reading about chess. About openings, chess history, and games played between world champions, grandmasters, all of them. My apps make learning much easier. Everything I know you can find in my apps. Magnus Trainer, Tactics Frenzy, and Play Magnus. You can learn the basic rules of chess, train with our 400 lessons, and even play against my digital self. Download and try my apps for free.
My name is Giri. I am a top grandmaster from the Netherlands. The lines and the recommendations that I give are well suited for players of all levels. So I really explain a lot of concepts, but also a lot of basic things. Now it's your move, don't waste any time, hit that buy button.
Hi, I'm Grandmaster Judith Polgar, and I'm here to welcome you in the Chessable classroom. It